Okay, here we go. Look at a little break. It's some squats, set of push-ups, clear out the neural pathways and all of that. Okay, here we go. Time for the last part of the album review. We're going to start off with Loveline.
떨리는 목소리 맘대로 안 돼 빨개지는 볼마저 또 감출 수가 없잖아 애써 쿨한 척 담담하게 보여도 이런 내 맘 숨길 수 없어 널 사랑하나 봐 너의 향기 너의 손짓 날 부르는 네 밀도 안에까지 너는 마치 all like it 이제 내 맘 알아줘 my boy 원하잖아 원래 하루 종일 네 생각만 하잖아 너와 함께 걸어가고 싶은 너와 나의 둘만의 Loveline 손을 꼭 잡고 말해줘 그런 나와 같은 마음이라고 너와 함께 I'm loving 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 the Loveline loving 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 the Loveline 두 눈 감을 때면 더 선명해져 보고 있어도 보고 싶은 내 마음이 넌 날까 당기고만 싶어 이 줄 놓지 말아줘 더 빠져들게 핑크빛으로 내 맘을 채워줘 너의 향기 너의 손짓 날 부르는 네 목도 안에까지 너는 마치 all like it 이제 내 맘 알아줘 my boy 원하잖아 원래 하루 종일 네 생각만 하잖아 너와 함께 걸어가고 싶은 너와 나의 둘만의 Loveline 손을 꼭 잡고 말해줘 그런 나와 같은 마음이라고 너와 함께 I'm loving 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 the Loveline 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 난 눈을 보고 말해줘 Loveline Loveline 내 손을 놓지 말아줘 my babe Loveline Loveline 내 눈을 보고 말해줘 Loveline Loveline 사랑이 물들어갈 수 있게 큰 하늘 아래서 같은 곳을 바라봐 너와 함께 한다면 할 수 있을 거야 난 I wanna love 그대 이젠 나를 바라봐 I wanna love 널 귓가에 속삭여줘 원하잖아 원래 하루 종일 네 생각만 하잖아 너만 몰라 널 다니지 마 붙잡아줘 둘만의 Loveline 손을 꼭 잡고 말해줘 그대 나와 같은 마음이라고 너와 함께 I'm loving 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 the Loveline 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 난 눈을 보고 말해줘 Loveline Loveline 내 손을 놓지 말아줘 my babe Loveline Loveline 내 눈을 보고 말해줘 Loveline Loveline 사랑이 물들어갈 수 있게
Really a lot of syncopated rhythms in this track. It's really syncopated. The piano is the only thing that isn't syncopated, really, and it is it's super important to the overall composition. It's the only thing that comes in on a downbeat, and for everything except the bridge section, it's just playing whole notes. They're hitting, the chord, whatever it is, bum, 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 right? It's just all four beats. It's just, it's just hitting 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just holding and sustaining throughout the entire measure. And every other part, including the vocal, is incredibly syncopated. And it's a really interesting type of song structure, actually. The vocal work is very strong. It's really good. It's the piano The piano part is doing a lot of work to carry the progression of the song, and it's really giving the space and the foundation for what the vocal is doing, and what the percussion is doing. There's such a swing feel in the percussion. A lot of it is like almost like these big triplet groups. It's 4 count, but the way it's syncopated into the specific rhythms that are being used almost give it like a waltzy kind of 3 feel. It's quite interesting that it works. Like it really is. The bridge section, the piano actually started to play some arpeggios. Although it was still adhering to a lot of the downbeats overall in the count. So it's the core, the middle of this song very much is what the piano is doing. It's carrying the chord progression for sure. Now the vocal work that's going on over top with a lot of the melodies is quite impressive. Definitely some projected strong vocals here. Plenty of breath behind the pitches that are being sung, and some more laid back delivery as well on some of the Loveline, like they're not belting that out. It's a pretty laid back type of delivery on it. An interesting song, an interesting song structure for sure. Like this is a I don't know, somebody, they probably thought of the rhythm first, is what it feels like to me. And then, we're like, okay, I need a chord progression that will work with this. That's why it's so simple, like so straightforward. It's just, okay, I just want whole notes. I just want to chunk my chords out for the entire bar, and then I'll transition to the next chord, after that. And it's an interesting song, man. It's super, super interesting. Like, it's subtle, and if you're for the average listener who's not worried about chord progressions and syncopation and all of that, it's quite pleasant. I mean, you're just gonna like enjoy it. But if you're if you have that inclination, if you are a musician, or if you are tuned into things like the chord progression and like the syncopation and all of that, it's really super intriguing, right? The composition and the structure of this song is like, wow, how does that work? How does it work so well? I just the counts are like, man, like, I'd have to be really dialed I'd be like, I'll do the piano part, you know what I mean? But if you gotta be responsible for one of those other parts, you gotta be really on your count. I mean, you gotta be like that. You gotta know where those downbeats are. Otherwise, you're gonna be off on the time. So it's a really interesting type of song for sure. That's super intriguing. That's one that when I listen later on, when I'll listen, and I'll keep coming back to Loveline, and I'll keep coming back to it until I'm like absolutely certain of where all of those upbeats and everything are actually falling. But it's a great song, and it's just super interesting. Like, for my mind, and for anybody else out there, I'm sure you'll relate. Like, oh man, you really want to like just sit there and kind of focus on it for a good while. Definitely it's gonna take more than one listen. You know what I mean? and then it'll become like, oh, okay, I feel secure in what my rhythms are doing here. All right, next track 11, Don't Give Up.
힘을 내 baby don't give up 매일같이 모두 다 해피하진 않아 재밌는 일 많지만 걱정 너무 많아 나만 그런 생각하고 사는 건 아니야 누구나 다 걱정거린 안고 살아 그래 바스 들고 마음도 아직 뜨지 해봐 네 확신을 의심하지 말아줘 또 다시 망설이는 일을 하지 말아줘 매일 내게 말해줘 힘을 내 baby don't give up 자 오른손에 하나 왼손에도 하나 마음대로 칠하고 그려나가 빨간 동그라미 초록 엑스표시 네가 만든 게 정답일지 몰라 힘을 내 baby don't give up 세상 가장 빛나고 예쁜 게 뭘까 안개 꽃 말고도 가까이에 있어 먼 곳에 찾지 않아도 눈앞에 있는 걸 누가 봐도 가치 있는 나인걸 좀 알면 좋겠어 그럼 너와 나 모두 다 행복해 그런 말과 매일 내게 해줬던 말 내 있는 그대로가 제일 예뻐 어려운 게 아닌걸 힘을 내 baby don't give up 나 오늘 힘들었던 이유 더 내일을 향하는 과정 하루하루 날 위해 살아줘 지금보다 날 더 예뻐해줘 So 힘을 내 baby don't give up 다 알면 좋겠어 그럼 너와 나 모두가 행복해 아무런 걱정을 하지만 말고 이 순간 DJ가 돼서 지금 춰줘 다시 뛰어봐 처음부터 힘을 내 baby don't give up 저 높은 하늘 향해 더 크게 인사해봐 너의 손끝이 별에 닿을 만큼 저 넓은 바다를 향해 더 크게 소리쳐봐 갇혀있던 맘이 뻥 뚫리게끔 힘을 내 baby don't give up
So they kind of brought it full circle there. So a bit of an anthemic type of sound. Again, a very, very strong emphasis on rhythm. The percussion in this track is wild. Just so broken up and detached. It's almost like little groupings of drum fills in the beginning. And again, one of these tracks where you get such a variety of work in the vocal, right? Really sweet bridge. The bridge is, it's just whenever Twice does those very melodic vocal runs, where they have a soft, sweet, high pitch that's going on. It's always just, it sounds so good. It's sweet, but it's so smooth also. Like it's a wonderful, wonderful break, and to have something so connected, so legato, right? It is because what the rhythms are so busy doing up until that point. It's enjoyable for sure, but once you reach that bridge section and you kind of get this great continuity that's going on in the melodic line, and with the actual tone and timbre of the voice being so smooth and enjoyable and just easy to listen to. Like it's it's like the filling, it's the gooey center of the chocolate or whatever, that like when you get there, it's like, oh man, it's so satisfying to hear it. And then another track that has a definite emphasis on rhythm throughout most of the mix. What was really cool was so there's like the synth bass part that's going on. I think it's the bum 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 bum. It's a little bit of a descending line that's going on there. Sort of outlining a chord. I'm listening to it at first, and I'm like, "There's a bell," because there are certain synth plugins or sounds that you could use that have a very the initial hit when you hit that, it almost does sound like a bell, but you hear the signal sort of its actual frequency, its actual pattern, it sort of tapers off. But that initial hit is very round at first. And I'm like, I hear a bell though for sure. And then later on, when the mix kind of it might have been around the bridge section too. It might have been shortly after that, or like moving out of that. But that bell sound was there. And I was like, I knew it. I knew it was a bell. I heard a bell. I heard it. Ding dong, ding dong, ding. Like I heard it, right? And it's really, it like the way that it's layered with the bass is so clean. Like if you could think of the bell as a percussive hit, the pocket of it, is so perfectly aligned with the way that the bass begins, right? That attack on the synth bass. It's the way that they are stacked together. Like it creates like one sound with the round pocket of the bell hit at the beginning, and then the synth tapering off, right, as in its sustain. And it's such a cool sound. Like it's really, really cool. And I was like, oh, I could be the synth. Like that could be the synth, but I swear there's a bell in there, man. I was like, I know there's a bell sound in there for sure. It could be pitched percussion, like a glockenspiel or something like that. Something that has a very round, hollow. If it's not a bell, then it's some sort of flanged tube like metal that it's being struck to make these little dingy dongy type of sounds. But that was really cool. It was really cool the way that was done. Like it's the rhythms are, it gets wild. The percussion in that song is like really, really just crazy. But overall, really, it's a really nice big, lots of reverb right throughout the mix to give it that epic sort of like anthem like type of sound. Okay, here we go. Track number 12, You in My Heart.
잠이 오지 않는 오늘 밤에 나 우두커니 앉아 반짝이는 저 하늘 보며 하나 둘씩 별해는 이 밤에 and all day 바람결에 스르륵 눈 감아 사랑스러운 네 숨결 부드러운 목소리로 내 맘에 스며들어 날 비춰주는 너 보여줄게 두 눈에 비춘 세상을 시간에 우리 단둘이 같은 얘기를 하고 같은 곳에서 숨을 쉬며 하나 둘씩 추억이 담아가 And all day 하루의 끝에 네가 있어 하여가 있다는 것 그것만으로도 너무 충분해 이유 없이 내 맘이 변해져 숨을 쉴 때마다 꼭 포근히 내 품 안에 담고 싶은 너야 내 눈을 바라봐 내게만 다 보여줄게 두 눈에 비친 세상을 예쁜 내 마음에 담을 수 있게 영원히 같은 시간 속에서 너와 나 단둘이서 내가 널 감싸줄게 내게 담아 저 반짝이는 별이 돼줄게 어디서든 날 비추는 언제나 널 밝혀주는 너와 나 꼭 단둘이 늘 함께인 것 우리 언제나 네 옆에만 내 눈을 바라봐 내게만 다 보여줄게 두 눈에 비친 세상을 예쁜 내 마음에 담을 수 있게 영원히 같은 시간 속에서 너와 나 단둘이서 내가 널 감싸줄게 내 눈을 바라봐 내게만 다 보여줄게 두 눈에 비친 세상을 너 혼자 두지는 않을 거야 알잖아 같은 시간 속에서 너와 나 단둘이서 내가 널 감싸줄게 날 내게 담아
listen to that piano. Oh man. So definitely a really big ballad sound here. When it started, the piano, I was like, oh, what sounding like some mid-90s R&B stuff going on here. And then moving into like the pre-chorus and chorus, huge synth sounds that all of a sudden it was like, okay, 80s, we're going 80s ballad now. Okay. Really like powerful vocals going on here. For sure, like those lines in the chorus, da, 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 da. Man, like pushing the very top of the chest voice. There was some very good falsetto also in there as well. There's like some of their, when you have some of the vocals that do like those higher, sweeter sounds, you like Mina, right? Sana can do it too. They really can get up into that falsetto range and move all around in there. And then there are some, like Chaeyoung's upper register when she sings, it's just naturally higher. Like she doesn't have to necessarily go falsetto, because the higher end of her voice is like Chaeyoung has an underrated range. Like I don't hear enough about it. She can control tone like it's a guitar pedal or something. Like she can cut the highs and turn the lows up. She can cut the lows and the highs and focus on the mids. And her upper range is like criminally underrated. It's she has such an incredible vocal range. Like she really does. And when she gets up to her upper register, it's so unique. The actual like pitches that she can hit without having to go into head voice. And it's a wonderful, if you, in other words, if you have certain members that will get up into that falsetto range and swim all around there, and then you have like like Jio and Nayeon have very powerful voice, like they can really project a lot of chest voice, right? And they keep a lot of body in that. But the range differential between that powerful chest voice, and then those falsetto head voices that are going on, right? Chaeyoung's upper register covers that span, and it makes for some really, really incredible harmonies and stuff. And even if it's not necessarily stacked harmony, hearing first the falsetto voice and then hearing the projected and then hearing the space in between it really adds a lot of unique quality to Twice songs for sure. The bridge section in this song, first of all, the piano work is fantastic. The chord progression on the piano, it's absolutely gorgeous. When the bridge section came, I was like, okay, they're walking up in these chords. Like when you hear the chord change, it goes up a step. I was like, okay, so bum, and then it went up again. I was like, okay, and it went up again. I was like, oh, okay, now we're probably gonna, like, you could go up and hit not the octave, but you could also drop back down. But it went up, and then in the second half of the bridge, it kept going up. And I was like, we're climbing again. Like they ascended over the entire bridge section. They went up like 2 octaves, like Broadway style. I mean, like, it was wild. I was like, oh my goodness, are they really gonna go that high? And they did. And it's in the chord progression. It's, you know what I mean. The everything else, stayed close to it, but didn't necessarily go up. So it was just wild to hear the chord progression. I was like, oh, are they going to keep going? They're going to keep going. And it was like, it was actually really cool. It was like really smooth, man. And then the way that at the end there, that the piano went all the way back down. It was they're playing way, way low. And it's the very last like chord sound that you hear in the song, and it was like, oh man, that's so nice, just to create that peak and then go all the way back down at the end. It's perfectly spanning the whole range there. That was really something compositionally. That's really, really just a gorgeous thing to pull off. You know what I mean, in the song, but definitely a fantastic ballad. It's a great example of composition, and it's also a wonderful demonstration of Twice vocals and what they can actually do, because it's such a unique combination of different. It's not just about range; it's the different qualities of it, the tone and the timbre, the body, the sustain, like all these different things that they can do when you mix them all together. It's just something. It's very special. It's like it's incredible to have those 9 members together in one group. It's just like, what are the odds, man? Like, wow, like how does it even happen? But it's absolutely just something else, man. It's spectacular to actually like hear it and to experience it. Okay, so let's finish off the album with the final track, number 13. This is Jaljayo Goodnight.
다시 만나요. 나를 돌려봐요. 나를 만나러 와요. Baby good night. 잘 자요. 어젯밤은 어땠나요? 좋은 꿈은 꿨었나요? 그렇게 하루하루 살아가면 되는 거겠죠. 조금만 더 힘을 내요 내 생각에. Baby think about me all night long. 우리 함께하는 이 시간 꿈속에선 오직 우리 둘만이 만들어갈 행복한 순간. 샤랄라라라 샤랄라라라. 잘 자요 우리 꿈속에서 다시 만나요. 나를 돌려봐요. 나를 만나러 와요. 나를 돌려봐요. 나를 만나러 와요. 어서 자요. Baby think about me all night long. 우리 함께하는 이 시간 꿈속에선 오직 우리 둘만이 만들어갈 행복한 순간. 샤랄라라라 샤랄라라라. 잘 자요 우리 꿈속에서 다시 만나요. 오늘도 수고 많이 했어요. 이제 편히 쉬어요. 내 생각하면서 나도 그대 생각하며 그대 꿈속에 찾아갈게요. 잘 자요. Good night.
Wow, dude. Oh. Fade out. Another perfect last song on an album. That was probably one of the most beautiful songs that I've ever heard. The contrasting rhythms that are going on in the guitar, primarily what we have is vocal harmonies with guitar accompaniment. It was in the beginning it was playing like a pretty much a straightforward. It was a really interesting rhythm because you get the fourth downbeat and then a one. You get like it was 8 notes before that, and then when it gets to 4, it's like 4, a 1 and 2, and it was like, oh, okay, put a little swing on the end of it there, and then that wonderful, like there's some beautiful 7 chords going on, and that da 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 da, that sort of like descending progression that's going on. It's like really, really fantastic composition. That's a gorgeous part right there. And then it goes full on bossa nova, like what is this, Antonio Carlos Jobim or something, you know? I'm like, what the heck? But so good, man, so good all throughout. That entire shift into that bossa nova rhythm, that was, oh man, it was so smooth, everything. And then coming back in, to that the second verse, all of a sudden the guitar starts doing all of these licks, all those bends and everything, and I'm like, what the heck? It's like southern rock stuff. Like it's stuff that you would hear in like Leonard Skinner or like Zach Wilde playing an acoustic set or something. I'm like, what? Like at the end there, the way it faded, the guitar was just going off. All these bends, and like what the heck? Like it's a really really beautiful song. That's a gorgeous song. That's it. That's uh, just like with the Signal album, the last track was just so perfect, right? It was like so perfect. Someone like me, right? Just such a, it's a gorgeous song, and it's perfect to end the album. And this, that was phenomenal. Like I said, overall the album, definitely a roller coaster ride that takes you everywhere, like all up, down, all around. Just the absolute range, the absolute like places that you go to with the different styles and the different the contrast, even within a song, right? This last one, it's incredibly impressive, man. Like I said, the development of the group, and this is the first full length album, and it's phenomenal. And from where we began, right, for what the story begins, the growth, the progression, the development, it's out of this world, man. Like it's just incredible. It's so incredible, dude. That's why Twice is just the greatest, right? They just, oh man, they've like just trying to take that in, just trying to understand, like, wow. So we got from like ooh ah to here, and I'm not saying, because all good. I'm absolutely love the first album. I love like ooh ah. I'll listen to that all the time. Twice is like regular listening for me, daily listening, and I have to. I'm doing these album reviews and really sort of concentrating on their discography. One is a build up to the concert for sure, but beyond that, I just want more. I just want to hear more. I just want to hear more of Twice, is like the bottom line. And I've been holding off on it because I could have just binged all of this. You know what I mean? Like I could have just like, oh, let me just next up. I have them all downloaded already, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna do the review. I'm gonna do the reaction. I'm gonna do the review. I'm gonna do it that way. And so as I get through these albums, it's like, okay, tomorrow, tomorrow night when I'm at work or whatever, I'm starting from The Story Begins, and I'm going through every single album, right? I'm going through all the ones that I've heard. In a night, I will listen to all of them. I can cover the entire spread so far of what I've done. Maybe by the time we finish the whole discography and catch up with everything, maybe it'd probably take a couple nights to get through all of it. But I'll everything that I listen to this way and review in the albums or the react to the videos or whatever, that adds to the playlist, the current active things that I'm actually listening to. And I just say that to reinforce the idea that it doesn't matter to me from the very first debut track all the way up to now. I'm in, like I'm already in love with it, like whatever it is, right? But it's just incredible, and to really see again the way the group has grown and just developed, and all the things that they're actually capable of doing. It's man, it's really incredible stuff. But for this being their first full length studio album and all that, man, it's fantastic. There's of course Likey, wow, that's a blast. That song is an incredible blast of a song. Of course we have Rollin', right? Um, Loveline and Don't Give Up are both like these impressive type of rhythmic accomplishments, really. You in My Heart, a fantastic, ballad there. But this Jaljayo Goodnight, that's one of the most beautiful songs that I've ever heard, man. Like, for sure. That's incredible. That's some amazing music right there. That's phenomenal stuff, man. I enjoyed that. It shouldn't even be allowed to enjoy anything that much, but I'm glad that it is and that I can, cause I do. But that's okay. So we finished the first full length studio album, Twicetagram, and it was man, as to be expected. It's an all-time great, an all-time classic. Okay, I'm gonna look because let me see, what is this? Okay, so Merry and Happy is there's a lot of the same songs with the added Christmas songs, and Heartshaker and Merry and Happy already have their own separate music video reactions. So it looks like What Is Love, moving on to the 2018 stuff, What Is Love, this EP will be the next one. Oh yeah, because no, What Is Love is the only, I think it's the only one that I've heard off of this album. So okay, that's the next one then. That's what we're doing next, is going to be What Is Love. But no, Twicetagram, dude, no, that's as to be expected. That was an absolute, just brilliant album, for sure. I don't expect anything else ever, especially from Twice. But that was a great, that was a great time, man. I'm gonna go. Man, I gotta feed the dogs, and I gotta make some onigiri. So that's what I'm gonna be doing until the next album. It's gonna be What Is Love. So there we go.